Good evening, Rotorua. Tonight on City News. Rotorua Police Station is officially opened with a dawn service this morning. The Redwoods is voted Kiwis' favourite place to cycle, and Hopper and Kirkpatrick complete a target trifecta after the weekend's racing. The new Rotorua Police Station was officially blessed this morning with a special dawn service.
So, very exciting time for us. We've been waiting for this for well over a decade. I think it was 2003 I was told I'll be in a new station 3 years. But it's certainly been worth waiting for, and what we're most excited about is the vision for this building has flowed through into the design, and a lot of things that we wanted to achieve in terms of reflecting a lot of our core values and what we are as police, for safer communities together, working in partnership with the community. And it might sound odd to people how you'd get that into a building, but it actually is here, and a lot of thought's gone into the design, and that's what we're most excited about, that we're going to have it's a wonderful facility that's going to help us provide a much better service to the public.
And local police are concerned for the welfare of 20-year-old Dylan Leathers from Rotorua. Dylan was last seen on Thursday evening and has since been reported missing by worried family members who say his disappearance is out of character. When he was last seen, he was wearing a beanie and a blue top. Anyone with information is asked to contact Rotorua Police. New Zealanders have voted Whakarewarewa Forest, also known as the Redwoods, as the country's favourite place to cycle. The competition was run by Bikewise New Zealand, which called for Kiwis to nominate their favourite spots around the country. Over 200 nominations were received. Oscar Nathan, General Manager of the Council's Tourism Unit, Destination Rotorua Marketing, says Rotorua has become the mountain biking mecca of New Zealand. He says we've got single-track trails that have been voted as some of the best in the world. And sections of the Redwoods will be temporarily closed off to recreational forest users from next week, while harvesting of large stands of radiator pine is carried out in the Tokorangi forest. Redwood Centre Manager Julianne Wilkinson says the logging will take around 6 months, so it's important that forest users keep informed about closed tracks and roads, adhere to restrictions on forest warning signs, and comply with directions from forestry staff on site. For the latest information, visit redwoods.co.nz. In sport tonight, Orewa pair Lee Hopper and Simon Kirkpatrick completed a winning trifecta in this year's Targa North Island Tarmac Motor Rally, which ended in Rotorua yesterday. Hopper won his first Targa event, Targa Rotorua, with Sun Grey co-driving in 2011, then his second with Simon Kirkpatrick reading the notes in 2013. Whakarewarewa and Rotoiti are still in the top 5 on the points table in the Premier Baywide Rugby competition after their weekend games. Rotoiti drew 15 all against Te Puna at Emery Park, while Whakarewarewa lost to top of the table Mount Maunganui 43-24. To your weather update now. Tonight will be fine with light winds and an overnight low of 4. For tomorrow, Tuesday, mostly sunny with westerlies developing, a high of 16 and a low of 7. And the outlook for Wednesday, cloudy periods with westerlies, a high of 15 and a low of 7. And the marine weather forecast for Lake Rotorua, variable 5 knots, westerly 10 knots during the afternoon, with waves less than half a metre, and there'll be morning fog clearing and then becoming fine. Coming up in the program, Kitty Danielle talks with Rotorua District Councillor Meripeka Rukawa-Tate about the council's plan for closer ties with Te Arawa. We meet Chintata Umtong in our Neighbours in Our Community segment, and we find out about a funding workshop on tomorrow to help groups deal with grant applications.
Ram he here at the Council, Rotorua District Council, and I'm joined by our Councillor, Mary Pikarokawa-Tate, who is in charge of many things. Strategy is one of them, and particularly the strategy and moving forward with the relationship with Te Arawa and Council. So kia ora koe.
Kia ora, kia ora.
So in the light of Mike McVicker's recent stand, how do you respond to that?
Well, we had the opportunity to present to full council recently a model that Te Arawa might like to consider as a part of the relationship that the District Council wants to develop with them. As you know, we did up until last year, the middle of last year, we have had for 20 years a Te Arawa Standing Committee, which is a standing committee of council that can make, and the people on that standing committee can make recommendations to council. And it is usually around issues that affect Te Arawa and that Te Arawa would want council to be aware of, and what some of the impacts of any decisions that council makes might affect Te Arawa. So anyway, after 20 years, a good time to review how effective the committee was, and I think probably most people would say it had passed its useful use-by date as it was then structured. And of course the treaty settlements within Te Arawa and all of our various iwi who have had settlements, some of them quite significant, they have changed also how Te Arawa, the expectations of Te Arawa, what they might do with those treaty settlements to obviously assist not only their own iwi development, but also the continuing development of Rotorua. So it really was important that if there's going to be some model, then what might that model look like? And that was what the opportunity was last week, to present a model for the council to have a look at prior to it going to the full Te Arawa. First of all to the stakeholders hui, and then to a hui a iwi for all Te Arawa to have a look at it. Now that review and the model that came forward, there were members of the Te Arawa Standing Committee who worked alongside of an independent person, an independent consultant, to put that review together. There were some other people also who came along and had a critical look at it. It's unfortunate that it went public. Well, not went public, it hasn't gone public yet, but it was unfortunate that a councillor decided that he wanted to jump the gun and put it out there when, first of all, it may not be what we're looking at in the future. So I think a little bit foolish, but however, that's happened now.
Mm-hmm. And so how do you feel that it's going to impact your role and the task that you have of bringing Te Arawa and the council closer together?
Well, I don't believe that a single councillor's comments, as I say, jumping the gun, that to me is, I don't worry about things like that. I look to develop solutions. I'm solutions focused, and a better relationship is definitely what we need. Let's be totally frank and honest. Te Arawa doesn't need the Rotorua District Council. It's actually the other way around. The foot is the shoes on the other side. You know, we need to understand that Te Arawa now has an agenda of their own in terms of their own people's development. They want to make sure that they develop their tribal assets. We, as a council, would like to think that they will be developed for the benefit of everyone. And as you know, Te Arawa has a proud history of being inclusive of everyone who lives within their rohe, and so I believe that cool heads will prevail, and Te Arawa will just look to think, we'll take our time, and we will develop. It could be that they give the tick to this model. It may be that they say, this is not uniquely Te Arawa, it doesn't suit us, we'll go back to the drawing table, we'll ask that another model be developed, and maybe they want even a bigger hand, different people to come along board and develop those models. So so I think it's actually going to be quite exciting.
How important is a relationship between Te Arawa and the council?
I think it's very important, absolutely very important, very crucial. We've made some blunders in the past, we really have, and it has cost the ratepayers. That's the thing that people don't seem to realise. It has cost the citizens of Rotorua. Every time we have bungled or blundered through, Te Arawa has taken us to the Environmental Court. As you know, last year there was a damning report around the council's just dismissive attitude towards Te Arawa. That was very poorly handled. Advice that was given to the council was not taken, and we didn't even take our own cultural advisors' advice. And of course it cost the ratepayers dearly, probably in excess of probably about 200,000 by the time you take the court costs, the legal costs, everything into consideration. And that, somebody has to pay that, and it'll be the ratepayers that pay that. Now, if Te Arawa believes that decisions are being made that will impact on them negatively, perhaps their assets or whatever, then they will use the courts, and that becomes very, very costly, and I suspect that they're likely to win as well. So yes, that's why, we should be respectful of each other. We have to understand, we do, and I think a lot of people do, or some people don't, of course, who gifted the land for Rotorua to be developed, who gifted that land, and who has also provided other pieces of land around the Rotorua district for wastewater treatment. I mean, the Waka Forest, for goodness sake. We've got to get our waste treatment out of the Waka Forest. Now, that, and through the generosity of the tribe, Tūhourangi Wahiao, we've been able to use that. That has to go. I mean, wherever, so there are some, the springs and where we've taken water, we've got to get out of there. So, these are, I'm saying that we need to be very, very careful about, well, not very careful, but we just need to understand, do not be dismissive of Te Arawa, because heaven help us. Heaven help Rotorua and our ratepayers and citizens of Rotorua if Te Arawa ever becomes dismissive of the people of Rotorua, the population. So that's why I say councillors who go to the press well before you should, first of all because with uninformed comments, need to understand that I don't bother about them because I know that I have to be part of the solution.
Kia ora, Meripeka, lovely to talk with you.
Thank you.
Does sound like you've got the right person on the case.
Thank you very much.
Kia ora.
Yes. Kia ora.
Now, obviously moving to a new country can be quite scary, especially if your first language is not English. But here in Rotorua, we're very lucky because we have settlement support who help new immigrants when they move to Rotorua. And joining me today is a young lady from Thailand, Chintana Umtong. Hi Chintana, welcome to City News. Now, obviously you're from Thailand. Tell me a little bit about your life over there.
I was born in Bangkok, Thailand, and do you want to know the year?
No, you can keep it a secret.
Okay. I lived in Bangkok, and the capital of Thailand, and I have one brother, and we have 2 years different, younger brother, and I went to school in Bangkok, and I graduated from Thammasat University in banking and finance. And I worked for a while in Bangkok, then that's it.
Yeah. And do you still have family over there?
I used to live in Japan with my family, with my previous marriage, and for some years, and I have 2 children, 1 daughter and 1 son.
And they're growing up, aren't they?
They grown up, and I moved back to Thailand. I lived there for some years, and now my children live. My daughter lives in Oklahoma. She married to an American, and my son is working in Japan, and he is living with his Japanese partner. And I lived in Bangkok, and looking after my mother. And that's all.
Now, when you moved to New Zealand, that was way back in 2011. Why did you choose to move over here?
I met my husband when I was working in Thailand, and yes, I think I wanted to move on to new life, and he's a good man, and he invited me to come to New Zealand to see if I like it. And he lived in Rotorua, so Rotorua is the first place in New Zealand that I visited. And I fall in love with Rotorua because I used to live in big cities like in Japan and in Bangkok. I prefer to have a small place with a little of everything. And Rotorua just is light and perfect for me.
Yeah. How did you find the language barrier coming over here? And were you able to speak English before you moved here?
Yes, I speak English. And
what about understanding the Kiwi accent?
I'm making my way to that. Yeah, I'm joining the English class here at LEF, and it is in English language partner. It is for newcomer settlement, what is called? new settlement, new migrant people. So I joined the English class here. First since I lived here.
Now, we just meet a couple of your classmates. Are they all
Yes.
from Thailand as well, or from other Asian countries?
Oh no, different countries. There are people from Thailand, from Japan, China, Philippines, and many countries. And they come here to learn English. So I have never been to proper English class in my life before until I came here. And I find that it is very enjoyable and very knowledgeable to join this English class.
What was the hardest thing about leaving your life in Thailand?
The hardest thing? No, I don't, because it is my native country, my home country, and I always like to see the world, see how the other places are different from Thailand. So I traveled to many countries.
Is New Zealand and Rotorua what you expected?
In here, I want to blend in. I want to live my life here. I want to make Rotorua as my home, and it is my home now. And I like it here. I like people. I like the weather. I like everything. I like even the smell of the sulfur smell.
Now, final question, Chintana. Where do you see the future with you and your husband here in Rotorua?
As I said before, I want to live here and make Rotorua as my home. And now we are retired and we want to enjoy our life in Rotorua together and And I want to involve in many activities here. Mostly I want to volunteer and do things for people here. So I would like to blend in with people and the culture here.
Oh, that's awesome. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kia ora everybody, I'm here at Community House and we are talking with two ladies doing a lot of good work in our community, Carolyn Santiago and Kylie Mathis. Kia ora ladies.
Kia ora. Kia ora.
So there are some really lovely initiatives that you're involved with. They're from Community Rotorua. Tell us a little bit about that first.
Sure. Community Rotorua is a capacity building organisation. We're here to support all community sector organisations in the Rotorua district.
Wonderful. And tell me about a little bit of the work that you do, Kylie.
At the moment I'm working on a training calendar that's so anybody involved in community organisations can register and come along to these programs, which we will talk about a little bit later on. So, yeah.
Wonderful. So what would you like Rotorua to know about Community Rotorua?
Well, we're here to support community groups. So whatever your needs are, that's our reason for being. And that's the reason we're delivering this grants workshop in partnership with the Fundraising Institute. A lot of people in community groups are telling us that they're really struggling with their funding. Less money available to community groups, harder for them to get it. And most of those people that are doing the fundraising are not professional fundraisers. You join the tennis club because you love playing tennis, not because you want to project manage a $500,000 rebuild at the club rooms. So that's what we're here to talk about at the grants workshop, trading on the experience and knowledge that I've built up over the years and making it easy for people to do the work that they're doing for their own community groups.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah, I've been working with Carolyn firsthand for a year now, so I've been learning lots of the tips and tricks she's going to be talking about at the workshop. So I'm really lucky, and I've had some success. And yeah, there's a lot of work behind the scenes to make a grant work. So yeah.
Sounds fabulous. So let's get in really quickly when it is and where it is, because we'll get you to repeat it again so it goes in twice.
Where are we?
We're at the Red Cross Rooms on Tuesday the 27th of May. Yep, that's where it is.
Fantastic. And does it run all day?
No, this is a half-day workshop. I've actually delivered this training all around New Zealand, so it's really nice. It was great to be in Queenstown and Invercargill, but it's really good to be delivering it here in Rotorua. So in half a day, we'll be showing people how to put together their own toolkit. We'll be showing them how to develop a plan and know where to get the information to cover the bases and ring-fence all those potential funding opportunities, unique and specific to their group, and then we'll be talking about what it takes to be successful at putting these applications in and banking the money.
Banking the money, that's and at the end of the day, everyone is struggling. Even at the very top levels, they are struggling, and so any help, any extra advice is going to be very appreciated. Tell us a little bit about your background and some of the work that you've done.
Sure. I have a background as a public servant. I worked in the Foreign Service for almost 20 years. Then I lost my hearing and was obliged to retire on medical grounds, and did what a lot of retired people do, started working in the voluntary sector, and realised then that I had an aptitude for paperwork and making things happen in community organisations. So my first community sector involvement was with the Māori Women's Refuge in Wellington, where I just learnt so much from an amazing coordinator we had there. She was my first mentor and got me involved as a fundraiser in a professional capacity. I now have my own business and have staff in Auckland, Tauranga, Wellington, here in Rotorua, and we have clients all through New Zealand.
Magnificent. Let you rub off on me. Tell me a little bit about the cost and anything like that. What do people need to bring?
Sure.
Prepare them.
Sure. This will be a very interactive hands-on workshop. If people can bring their own device, if they've got a laptop and a mobile phone and can access the internet during the workshop, that means they'll be able to play around with what we're talking about and apply that directly to their own circumstances. So, yeah, if you've got a laptop, bring one. If you haven't, don't worry, we'll give you handouts and notes, and you'll be able to go home and apply that learning then.
And is there a cost with this workshop?
There is. We're doing it in partnership with the Fundraising Institute of New Zealand. So fundraising members are
$35, yes, and $55 for non-members.
Great, but obviously a good investment.
Absolutely.
I can pretty much guarantee people will recover that in terms of the knowledge that they'll take away and the opportunities that they'll be made aware of. I've had feedback from very experienced fundraisers who've said to me, oh my goodness, I thought I had the bases covered and I've learned so much. So, yeah, I'm pretty confident that people will find that that is certainly very good value for money.
Well, thank you very much for your time, ladies. It's been a pleasure talking with you. I'm interested in all of those courses. Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't forget, if you have any news that you'd like to share with us, give the station a call on 073488 984 or email news@tvrotorua.co.nz. You can also watch the show again and catch up on City News via our website tvrotorua.co.nz. Thanks for joining us tonight. Por Maria.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.